Hello Internet! Welcome to ChangeTheReel, the show where I discuss movies. I am Anthony. Today I am doing a review of Blair Witch. This is the third movie of the Blair Witch saga. I went into this movie with really high hopes because I'm a really huge fan of the original Blair Witch project. I really got sucked into the mythology around the Blair Witch that they were setting up. If you really consumed all that media that they were putting out and the publicity that they were putting out for this movie, and you really suck your teeth into what they were doing, it was a really rich mythology they were building up. And one thing I liked about the mythology is that it was the mystery of it all. You didn't know what was going on. At the beginning of the movie, you still didn't know what was going on in the movie. You didn't know if it was a paranormal event, or if there was a ghost of a witch floating around those woods, or if it was the witch herself still alive. Or it could just be all mundane. It could just be fake. You never truly got an answer. You got a bunch of questions, and you never understood what exactly was going on. When the trailer came out for this new movie, I was excited because it looked like a sequel. First off, let's start off with the bad parts about this movie. First, there is the fact that it is a found footage movie. I, for one, am tired of seeing found footage movies in Hollywood. I think it's an overused trope that's used an awful lot in Hollywood, especially in horror movies. But given the fact that the first Blair Witch Project was the movie that pretty much brought found footage movies into the spotlight and made it popular, making another Blair Witch movie and not having it found footage would be wrong. So I'm willing to forgive that. Some other people probably want it and probably would dislike it if they are really sick and tired of found footage movies. And the second part is some of the editing in the film. I know it's a found footage movie, but some of the technical aspects of it is sometimes when the camera is placed at a certain spot, or the camera is turned on at the appropriate time when no one was touching the camera, and yet the camera is now officially turned on. It's just little technical aspects of the movie that didn't really make sense. It wasn't too heavy in the movie. The majority of the time I believed it. It wasn't something that I couldn't disbelieve. Number 3, the biggest problem I have with this movie is jump scares. My God, there is a lot of jump scares. This movie is full with them. Especially when you get into the forest, you can't go like almost 5 minutes, it seems like, without a jump scare. By the end of the movie, it kind of becomes a little over the top and kind of funny in many ways, because it's just how many more jump scares can you give us? Which is sad, I think, is because I think the movie is strong enough that you didn't need all those jump scares for it to be scary. To me, a jump scare is one of the cheapest horror effects you can get in a horror movie. It has its place, but it has its place if used in moderation. If you overuse it, it just becomes cheap and funny after a while. It loses its scare factor. The fourth thing wrong with this movie is that it is very much a carbon copy of the original Blair Witch Project. There's a lot of beats and a lot of themes and story elements that are pretty much an exact copy of the original movie. You're not getting a lot of new information, and you're not getting a lot of new stuff. It is pretty much a remake of the original movie, but it is still a sequel. Alright, stuff that I enjoyed about this movie. First off, when you come with a lot of horror movies, especially found footage movies like this, a lot of times the characters in the movies end up not being likable. Since I don't like the characters at all, I don't feel any sympathy for anything bad that might happen to them. In this movie, there are some characters that are kind of being a little bit of a dick in many aspects, but overall, like in the first Blair Witch Project, I still like the characters. I like the characters in the original Blair Witch Project, and I like the characters here. You can actually understand what they're going through and actually empathize with their situation, even though you pretty much know that they're going to die through it. One of the other things I really liked about this movie, as I said before, I'm a really big fan of the original movie and the original mythology that they were building around it. This movie actually still follows in that mythology, which is great because now it feels like I'm stepping back into this world. And I think it was very smart for them to wait this long before releasing a new movie in the Blair Witch saga. If this particular movie had come out right after the original Blair Witch Project, it wouldn't have worked. Because, like I said earlier, it's very much a carbon copy of the original movie, and it's just been a cheap remake sequel. It wouldn't have been as good. Pretty much after the second movie, the franchise was basically dead. By waiting as long as they did and releasing this, I believe it was a smart move. Because a lot of people that might go see this movie probably have never seen the original Blair Witch Project. So this movie would be fresh for them. This would be a new movie. And hopefully, by them watching this movie, they'll get sucked back into the mythology and go search the other stuff. Very similar to the way I was sucked in. So I think there's a lot of stuff there that if you are a fan of the original stuff, you'll like it because it's updated. And if you don't know anything about the original Blair Witch Project, I think you'll enjoy it on a different level. The next thing I think is really, they did very well with this movie was that, like the original movie, you don't get any answers. You still don't know what's going on. And I like that. If I would have walked in there and at the ending of the movie, not only do you see the Blair Witch, but there's a fight with the Blair Witch and you somehow defeat the Blair Witch or whatever, typical horror movie tropes, that wouldn't be good. But the fact of the matter is that at the ending of the movie, you still don't know any answers. It's still a mystery of what exactly is going on in those woods. You don't know. You don't know. You don't get any resolution on what happened in the first movie, and you don't get any resolution on what exactly happened at the end of this movie. And since you don't get any answers, that's a very Lovecraftian way of telling a story. At the end, you're still left with more questions than you do answers. One of the problems online I hear about people not liking this movie, one of the things they said was that you saw the witch. Well, spoiler, yes. Yes, you did see the witch. I guess. I saw something. Did it look like a witch? No. It didn't look like a witch. But I saw something. Was that the Blair Witch? I don't know what that was. I saw something. In several different shots, I saw something. But it wasn't on screen long enough for you to truly understand what you saw. Was it the Blair Witch? I don't know. I saw something. Personally, what I saw, it looked kind of like a cross between an alien and the Slender Man. Which, I don't know what that is. That's what it kind of looked like to me. That's the first thing that popped in my head. It looks like an alien crossed with Slender Man. Is that the Blair Witch? Does it look like a ghost? That's for sure. And there was another thing. At the ending of the movie, I got a more alien vibe than I did with a more of a ghost vibe or a magical vibe. I got more of a vibe of aliens, which is great because that adds another element of what's exactly going on? I don't know. Is it ghosts? Is it a witch? Is it aliens? Is it a serial killer? Is it a hoax? What is it? I have no idea what's going on. Bringing about spoilers, one of the other complaints I heard about this movie was that, they added time travel elements. There were time travel elements in the original Blair Witch Project. Mind you, you have to read all the other source material and get really into the mythology. They don't really spell it out to you in the first movie, but they kind of go heavier-handed in this one. And one of the other things I liked about the movie is that everything in my head can be explained non-paranormal. Just like in the original Blair Witch Project, there could be nothing supernatural going on at all. Same thing can go on here. Everything can be explained with no supernatural actually going on. And I like that. I like the fact that there is no answers. I like that. No answers. I was so afraid that I was going to get in there and they're going to like explain this away, explain that away, and give me nothing but answers. And I don't want answers. That's not what I like about this series. I like this series because I get no answers. It makes you think. Not enough movies out there actually make you think. But overall, how is the movie? I think the movie is good. I like the movie. Is it better than the original Blair Witch Project? No, I don't think so. There's a lot of elements in the Blair Witch Project that I think do things better. It's definitely more flashier of a movie, but I like the raw feel of the original Blair Witch Project a little bit more over this one. This one feels a little bit, probably a little bit too polished, but I still enjoyed it. I still highly enjoyed it. Would you like it? I don't know. If you're an average movie person, maybe not. But of course, a lot of general moviegoers didn't really care for the Blair Witch Project either. I remember that a lot when I watched the Blair Witch Project in the theaters. I heard a lot of people complaining on the way out of the theater how they didn't like the movie. So a lot of those people that probably didn't like the original Blair Witch Project will probably not like this movie. Because it's very similar. And it's a lot of things, you still don't get any answers. And a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like a movie that doesn't give you answers. If you are a fan of the original movie, fan of what the original movie was trying to do, you will probably like this movie. You might not love it, but I would say you'll probably at least enjoy yourself. And that's what I can say about this movie. I enjoyed myself. And that's the one thing about this movie. I can honestly say when I walked out of that movie, I was entertained. I didn't feel bored through the movie. I actually enjoyed myself. I had a good time. And that's important. That is really important. If you've seen this movie, please post your opinion in the comments below, or on our Twitter or Facebook pages listed below. If you like this video, please press the like button. If you want to see more of my movie reviews, please press the subscribe button.